Alright, good morning guys. Alright, I came out this morning, did my chores real quick before the rain, but we've been having rain every day, and I mean a lot of rain, having flash flood warnings and all that going on. So I'm able to get out early before the rain came, took care of the animals. But I do want to talk to you guys about getting yourself prepared, for what's coming, okay? And some of y'all might not, you might think, oh, doom and gloom. I'm not into doom and gloom. I've never been into that. I still am not. But I've just, what happened in my life starting in October of last year, God began to move on me, which at the time I didn't realize it was God. And I know now it was, and if you have desires in you, that's God giving you desires, okay? Anyway, and he was moving on my heart to kind of redo my backyard, and just to kind of fine-tune everything that I had going on back here, because it wasn't fine-tuned at all. It was way out of control, and now things are more in control. Things are more fine-tuned. I have the focus is now more direct on things, and that started happening to me, last year in 2019, around September. Really in September, August and September, and then in October I came out, started the YouTube channel, doing this because at the time when I was getting the idea to do this, I wasn't working, making money. I still don't work hardly at all. I don't make a lot of money at all, and I do little small jobs here and there, and that's how I survive. So to have like extra money to spend on remodeling my backyard, it's like I need to spend that money on bills and what have you. But anyway, the way it worked out, really, I didn't spend much money at all, really. I guess the most I spent was on the greenhouse, and but really, I had collected all kind of materials I had laying in my yard that I was able to use, and so it kept my cost down to a very minimum to come back here and to refine, refocus, redo things back here, and it's not over. It's not over yet. I'm still refining, still redoing stuff, still I'm still getting thoughts on how to even redefine what I have now. Okay, so it's not over with. I'm still refining, okay, and defining and rearranging and refocusing. It's still all going on, because I look at how God moved on me in October, or actually before that, but October I started the channel, started trying to show people how in a city-sized backyard what you can do in here and what I'm doing. And as you can see, I'll give a little shot for some of you newbies. I got a little bitty backyard, not much at all, but I have the whole thing. I have everything doing stuff in the areas that's not yet. I'm fixing to work on it, like back here. I have a good, nice size area that I'm cleaning up right now, that I'm gonna get something going back there. Chicken coop. I got stuff that I propagate and grow here. Collecting water. Some garden here in the ground. I got elevated garden, raised bed garden. I'm making an outdoor kitchen to cook outside. I have fruit trees, citrus trees that I grow along my property here, and I still got more to do. I got trees back here in pots that I got growing, got things going. I made a strawberry wall. I got aquaponics. I'm raising quail here. I'm raising chickens, meat chickens and regular chickens, and that's just, it's not over with, you guys. I still got more that I feel led by God to do. Okay, now what I want to speak to you guys about is like, what are you doing to prepare yourself for what's coming. Okay, we just saw in the beginning of 2020 how quickly the grocery stores are out of food. We just all experienced that. The whole nation experienced that. Okay, and yet some of us still want to think that okay, I still don't need to do anything because Walmart's always going to be there. Even though we might have some hard times, they're always going to be there to provide food. And that could be, and again, we don't know how bad things can get from this point on. But I guarantee you this much. I can almost guarantee this. We have a second wave of this going to happen to us in the fall. Now, just to think that it's going to be as bad as it just was, you're crazy to think that. Because, see, we're going into a season where not only the coronavirus is spreading, but we're going into the flu season. And we're going into the cold season, okay? We're going to be going into the fall season and into the winter season where, so you have things that's going to be added to what we experienced in the beginning of this year, okay? Now, so I believe it's going to get a little bit worse. How much worse? I have no idea. But it's going to be worse than what it was, okay? Because just the one thing, if it was one thing, the fact that the flu is going to be thrown in and added in this at the same time as the coronavirus is going. So we're going to have both of these things going. And the flu, if you know anything about that, actually kills more people a year than the coronavirus. Now, even though the coronavirus is up there, and we ain't seen the end of it yet, it could surpass the flu, what the flu does, okay? But regardless of all of that's going on, you and I were created to survive, to eat from the fruit from the trees in the garden. This is how God originally created man. He put him in a garden, and he said you can eat from all the fruit of the trees. You can eat from any tree except this one. And most of y'all know the story, but I'm not getting into that. I'm getting into a survival thing for us, so that we can begin to start preparing. It's not too late. Okay, it might be too late to have this amount that you're gonna be able to eat what they call it, a 3-course meal every night. Yeah, you might not be able to do that, okay? And that's hard to do in a city backyard. Can be done, but you don't want that to be your goal. You want to be able to take what you have, grow some food, and be very ration it out to make it last through the hard time, okay? Because we're going to have a hard time coming up, okay? And so there's things that you should be preparing now. Don't panic. Number one, please don't panic. I'm not saying any of this to panic. I'm saying all this just so you can prepare. There's a story in the Bible when Joseph was, he was a pharaoh over Egypt, and there was a dream that God gave that showed that they were going to have 7 years of famine and 7 years of plenty. And so Joseph began to increase production in the grains and all, and then began to ration it during the good times. He rationed it and he saved some so that when the famine came, they had food, not just for Egypt, but for all surrounding nations that came to them to buy from them. And they became the richest nation on the planet because of that. But so it's not a fear thing. It's just a survival way that God has put in us, that we can. There's a way to survive. There's a way that we can survive. Now, there's two main things that we need. Okay, is food and water. Okay, so water is provided for us from the sky. Okay, so you don't need to. You can get out of your thinking that you have to have the tap water, or you have to go buy bottled water at Walmart. The sky releases water. Okay, And so maybe what you can do is take time now to begin to research, because look, see what we got going on here, YouTube and all that. That could come to an end at one day too. They might, might start cutting off some of this. We don't know. We don't know what's lying in the future. But right now, you have access to knowledge, and you need to take and start learning stuff. Write down notes, just so you know, because if the day comes you can't get online and find out something, take some notes. So what you need to do is, first of all, the rainwater. Everybody on the planet has access to rainwater. And so we all need to learn how to capture that water, how to be able to take that rainwater and use it. Hang on. Sorry. We need to learn how to take that water, that we can do what we got to do to it, filter it, clean it, so that we can drink it and survive with it, okay? Whether we're going into bad times or not, you should learn that anyway, because that's something God's providing for us. Okay, another thing that's always provided for us is the sun. So from the sun, there's energy there, and we can capture energy. There's ways to use the sun to cook, to heat up things, use the sun to collect energy, and we have ways to be able to do that. So research that. Okay, and those are two main things that everybody has the same access to: the rain and the sun. Okay, we all have the same access to growing food, because we all have land or some kind of property somewhere, no matter where you're living. And even if you don't have any land, if you're living in you're renting a room from somebody, well, there's ways you can still grow stuff indoors. And so research it. Where maybe you can buy you some grow lights now, and then learn how to maybe take a small solar panel that you can purchase to be able to run that in case we don't have electricity one day, or electricity gets cut off for periods of time. I gotta get that down, because I'm running stuff back here off electricity right here. I have an incubator. Like if I start incubating eggs and that electricity goes off, the eggs are ruined. If my aquaponics shuts down for a long period of time, I got a lot of fish in there. I have to provide extra oxygen for them. If that cuts off, my fish basically suffocate. So I'm right now thinking about keeping this thing running off the sun. So it's going to take a little money, but it's something I have to do. I believe I have to be ready for it. I need to get knowledge on it, because I don't understand solar at all. I have to get knowledge of it. Propane's another thing. I'm thinking about buying a big tank and getting propane, because propane, you can store that for long periods of time. And then take your propane and learn how to use that to run a generator. And you're not running it constant, but you're running it at just small increments of time during the day to do certain things that you need to get done, so that you ration your propane. Now, I'm saying all this stuff, it might not get this bad, but the thing is, we need to be ready in case it does, because we just saw what the coronavirus did. We just saw that. You can't be blinded to that, and you have to understand, okay, that's what it did. We're adding some more stuff on top of it for the fall, so it could get a little more out of hand. And of course, you're always going to have people that's going to panic and want to steal and rob and hurt people. That's always going to go on, and we had a lot of that going on just with what happened in the beginning of the year. Just think what the increase of that. So you just need to be ready to protect yourself. You need to be ready to be able to feed yourself and provide water for you and your family. Now, I would say first, if you're not doing any gardening, you need to get started and just focus on trying to just grow what you can for your size family. Okay, don't worry about your neighbors right now. Get that down first. So we got the fall coming up. So if you don't have any gardens and you want to get something going, it's not too late. You can start preparing area in your yard to start growing. Now I did a video before this one on elevated bed versus raised beds. You ought to check that out, okay? Because even more now, I'm recommending elevated beds. Now I have them in my yard because, see, my whole yard is basically concreted just about. But you guys who have a whole backyard of grass, okay, you still do the elevated beds, because I'm going to tell you, this is why. Okay, if things get really bad, it's going to be hard to get chicken feed, because you could still get you some chickens that can produce some eggs, and maybe if they multiply some, you can get some meat for you. But what you need feed for them. Well, if you can't go to the store and buy feed, say you're not working, you're not making money, you can't buy feed. Let's say the economy is to the point where, you know, the companies that make feed are closed up and they're really not making feed. Well, farmers in the old days didn't really go buy feed. They let their chickens run loose. So if you did elevated beds, that pretty much leaves all your yard open for your chickens to eat. So I would recommend to do that. I would recommend to buy now like chicken wire, rolls of chicken wire, because you're going to need it. You're going to need to put your chickens in a certain area. You're going to need to put chicken wire around your elevated beds to keep your chickens out so they don't eat your food that you're growing, to keep them only on the ground, to digging for bugs, eating the grass and all. And then you want to keep them in one section at a time and let them exhaust that and eat all that, and then you can move your netting over, move your chicken wire over, and give them another section. And that brings me to this. You can buy sacks of grass seeds. Okay? So when your chickens eat up an area, you go down and you plant more seeds, and you don't allow your chickens to go in that area, and you allow the grass to grow there. Now, even if you didn't have the seeds, the grass was going to grow back anyway, but the seeds would help it to grow back in it more dense, where you'll have more food. And if you go buy some good grass, nutritional grass, Timothy grass, alfalfa grass, all that kind of stuff you can buy, you plant that, that'll be food for your animals, okay? You need to think about that, because you could have animals, but the day could come where getting feed for them is going to be rough. And this is what I've been thinking on. So I have a small area of yard that I'm going to eliminate all my gardens in it, and I'm going strictly elevated beds, so I can have that whole area for my chickens to feed if that's the case. Okay, I wish I had a whole yard of grass now. I wish I would have never concreted my yard, but I did. But I have to deal with it. I have to deal with it and make the best out of what I have. And I have been, and I still can. And I'm doing this with 90% of my backyard's concrete. I'm doing this to be able to feed my family, take care of my family through hard times. If you have a whole backyard of green grass, your potential is unlimited, what you can really do there. Okay. Look at my bok choy and lettuce all coming up. Now, this is a lettuce right here that I was growing in one of my beds here with the blackberries. It was growing in there. Somehow a seed got in there, and it's a lettuce, so I just stuck it in here yesterday. But look how everything's coming up, looking good. There's some food there that's growing that'll be ready in a couple of months probably, or maybe a month. I don't know how long. I never planted from seed in there, but I did plant that one lettuce, and you can watch how fast that's going to grow. So anyway, so that's what's going on. Start preparing now. There's things you need to probably start buying now, and don't go hog wild. You know, even ration on that. Get just what you need. You know, make sure you have, some things like some fabric, some denim fabric to patch up your jeans. Some thread and needles so you can repair holes in your clothes, because you might not be able to buy clothes, and clothes might not be easy to get to, okay? Things like that. You got to be thinking about that. You need to get you a good pair of of shoes, and I mean a good pair, like hiking boots, something that's going to last a long time, because we don't know how long this will last. You don't know if you will be homeless, because if the economy shuts down any worse than it's doing now, and if people could be getting evicted out of properties, not because they can't pay their house note, they can't pay rent or whatever, and they'll be out homeless, and they have to learn how to survive. And you could be one of them. I could be one of them. I still own my house. I could be one that, even though I'm doing all this in the backyard, there could be the day come where they boot me out of my house because I can't pay my house note. It's just a possibility that you just can't throw aside just because you got a good job. And you're saying, oh, I only think that way because I don't work. No, well, I've worked. Believe me, I've owned my own business. I used to make some good money. Okay? I would walk into places to buy a new vehicle, and they knew, Mr. Salinger, sit right here. We got everything ready for you. I'd call in ahead of time, tell them what I needed, and they would have it all ready. And I'd get in and look at it. If I was okay with the price, I'd sign a paper. If I wasn't, I'd say, no, I want it for this much. Yes, sir, Mr. Salinger. And they would basically do a lot what I said. Not totally. I mean, I wasn't, that rich, but in a little town I was at, I was known, and I could purchase vehicles like that. But anyway, I'm saying all that because I'm not just doing this because I don't have money. Okay? I don't have money, and I survive month to month. Our bills are
paid up. God provides for us through little jobs, through me selling things. I sell quail eggs. I sell pickles. I pickle my cucumbers. I sell that. I pickle okra and beans, and I sell that kind of stuff. I sell what I can, and God provides for us all the time, every month. Our finances are met. Amen. Our bills are met. So there's some changes I got to do here, and I'm still. Am I ready to the point to some of the stuff I'm talking about to be able to survive? No, I'm not. Like, I don't have no solar. I couldn't keep this stuff running back here, my aquaponics and all that, if I don't have solar, and we start having shortages in electricity, and they're cutting it off for several hours during the day and only allowing us to have a little bit of power during the day. No, my stuff would probably die back here. It wouldn't survive. Do I have enough yard to feed all my animals? No, I don't. I don't have it. So I have to start. I got to deal with all that. Now, some of you have enough. It wouldn't be a problem for you to have. Some of you have enough property, enough backyard, enough grass, where you could get you a half a dozen of chickens. Okay, a half a dozen of chickens. Could eat a while off of your backyard, and if you move them around and cast out some seeds in the areas that they ate, you can keep food forever for your chickens, and they'll be providing eggs for you. And if you get yourself a rooster and start having some baby chicks, you can start eating some of your chickens if it got down to that. So just to give you some heads up. Hard times are coming. Are you prepared for it? Or are you preparing for it? Or you're doing things that's going to make your life a little easier during those times? Okay, so you need to be thinking ahead. Don't panic. Anytime we panic, we make wrong decisions. Okay, don't panic. Trust God. Okay, just trust God, and God has given you and I the wisdom. Okay, He's given us wisdom. And you need to believe that you have wisdom to be able to survive, okay? You might have grew up in the city all your life, like me. I've never hunted before, never went fishing that much. And I'm 60 years old. At 59 years old, I processed my first animal in my whole life. Right. At 59 years old, I started going fishing. catching fish and coming home and learning how to fillet them and get the bones out. So I know how to fillet fish now. And some of y'all, that might be like second nature, but it wasn't to me, because I never done that my whole life. I grew up in the city. My dad wasn't a fisherman or a farmer. He was a salesman. And so we never did anything like that. He never took us hunting. I never did that. I never went with friends, because none of my friends in my neighborhood I grew up with really did that. We lived in a city, okay? So I'm learning all that at, 59, 60 years old. I'm beginning to learn this kind of stuff. And it's really easier than I thought. And you just need to just think things out. Like when I go fishing. Yeah, I could go fishing for different types of fish. I'm not good at maybe hooking fish, but what I am good at is putting a bloody piece of meat on the hook and throwing it, let it sit at the bottom and catch me a big catfish. That's meat for me. I'll eat the catfish. Yeah, they might be a scavenger fish, a scavenger fish, and they might eat all the dead stuff off the bottom, but it's food. And so I buy chicken livers and hearts and all that, the inner parts, put that on the hook, throw it out there, and I just let it sit, and I catch. Just from letting it sit, I catch nice sized catfish, which I never thought I could ever do. And so I want to get a little boat. I want to go out and learn how to fish for other types of fish. But right now, I do what I can do, and that's something I do. And I catch catfish. When I go out fishing, I come back with fish big enough to fillet and to eat. Okay, all right. I put a big hook on it so I don't catch a little fish. So when something bites my hook and it's hooked, it's a fish with a big enough mouth to eat the size hook that I have. Okay, so. And nobody told me that. I just figured that, okay? And it makes total sense to do that. All right, you guys, I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on some of that. Start preparing for what's coming. Start preparing for the fall, because we have, I think we're going to have some challenges coming up this fall that might shock some of us, because I know some of us don't believe that we live in America and this could really happen to us, but it can. Be ready. Don't panic, just prepare yourself. And if you have plenty now, begin to take your plenty now. Begin to ration some of it. Spend it wisely on stuff you might need for the future. And so that's my recommendation. That's what I'm hoping to maybe get across to some of you people, so that maybe we'll get through some of this a little less painful, because we'll be prepared. And being prepared is a key to all of this, is to be prepared. Prepared. And so I used to grow probably 100 different things in my backyard. I'm only down to a few things that I can grow that we really need and eat, as far as like making salad, okra, asparagus. I like to grow things that come back year after year. That's why I have asparagus. I have berries, strawberries, blackberries. I just bought a huckleberry plant, mulberry plant, elderberry plant. I got fruit trees, things that come back year after year. And I recommend you do that. I recommend that you take some of your money, begin to buy trees, some fruit trees, and some bushes that produce little small berries that are really high in antioxidants. That's good for you. I grow squash and zucchini, because it grows so quick and so fast, so good. You can get food from that. And you can use the squash and zucchini. You chop it up, grill it a little bit. You can eat that with some sausage. Throw some sausage in there, and you got your nice little meal. Cut up some potatoes and sausage and squash. Nice little meal. All right, you guys, I'm gonna let you go. I got things we got to do today. I'm sweating already. I'm drenched. I just took a bath this morning, and I'm already feel like I need to go take another bath. It's so humid out here. So we're gonna get some rain again today, and but regardless of all that, I'm preparing myself. I'm being ready, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. And I'm not afraid of what we're gonna experience. I'm not afraid at all. Matter of fact, I'm not happy about it, but what I'm happy about is that I'm changing my thinking and I'm learning ways to survive that I never ever thought about before. When I started all this last year and started the YouTube channel, I wasn't thinking. Right before the YouTube channel, I didn't have thoughts about why I grew my food, because we might have a shortage. I just did it because I like doing it. And around October, September, October, the Lord started moving on me about doing this because it might be a means of survival. And you know, you kind of brush that off. You don't think it's God because, you know, God's a God of miracles. Why do I need to grow stuff? God, if God wants to take care of me, he can do a miracle. Well, he didn't do that kind of miracle with Joseph. No, he did a miracle in another way, where he saved the food and then he was able to feed other people. That might be something that, you know, you'll be able to do. But I say first start with trying to grow enough for your family. After that, when you get it down, you'll be able to grow enough that you'll help some other people out. And depending on the size yard you have, I'm very limited here, very limited in my space, very limited in my space. So limited I can't stand it. But I'm not going to let it stop me, and I'm going to do what I can here. So I'm fixing to even refine what I'm doing here and even get it even more, so that I'm not just having food for me, but food for my animals too. So that's where I'm at right now, you guys. Again, prepare for the fall, and see you on the next video. You guys be blessed.